All right, we're on Mocky Mock episode 15, Ski Mask Offensive, special Thanksgiving Eve episode with my boy, Mocky Mock Random. Dude, what is happening?
What's up, man? I forgot that it was Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all those people and indentured service, whatever. Have a good time. You
Yeah,
know,
happy Turkey Day to you, dude. Are you doing anything tomorrow?
I'm in an odd situation where I was just working in New Jersey. I live in Paramus. My girl lives in Parsippany. So I was going back and forth, and I've been here a lot longer and I haven't heard anything from her. So if she's doing it with her family or we're doing it together, I don't fucking know.
Is
But
she radio silent on you?
yeah, we just are on different schedules.
Yeah, you were telling me you were fucking working nights, losing your mind more than usual. What's up with that, dude?
It's I just fucking I want my relationship to work out as best as I can and I want to do good things, but like when I'm by myself for a long time, because I live my whole life by myself, so I don't know, it's fucking crazy. Like just thoughts, like just it goes all up and down, like, oh my God, this is a holy purpose, and then there's angels and demons, and then I have to be the one to save them, but then it's all fate and it's all night. So I just have to chill out, take drugs, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I remember you asking on one show, you were like, you were asking about cocaine etiquette. That's probably not good for the mental issues and upper like that, no?
It's one of those you have to work out how to do your own regimen. Like I know there's certain medicines like Seroquel. I'll say that is a devil medicine. Like that
Seroquel will fuck you up, dude.
Seroquel,
I've taken it before.
I've done three of like the worst things in my entire life on Seroquel. So that's
I
why I have no problem with blow. It's knowing what your chemistry is
Oh,
really.
definitely. This dude's like back when I was, big into doing shit like that is like yeah, Coke would like it would jack me up a little bit, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? It was kind of I've talked about this on the show before. I have the opposite effect where like down is give me energy and up is give me
Yeah.
kind of put me to sleep sometimes. I don't know if it's ADD, I'm retarded. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I
That's
think it's
like
just kind of like a chemical makeup, no? Like you said.
there was one real ass podcast episode I did. I made sure to do it on blow because it makes me calmer. It makes me think before I speak. It makes me less erratic, which
True.
is crazy.
So
But
almost like a Adderall or a Ritalin, where like the people who don't need it are fucking all twacked out, and the people who need it kind of just focus,
yeah, to
right?
me, it affects how weed affects normal people. Like when I smoke weed, I'm all hyped up. But when I do blow, I'm just chill. My sentences have a slower cadence to them.
Yeah. No,
So
you seem pretty good right now. You all gacked up or what?
yeah, no, this was all a bunch of weed and kratom. And then
Oh
I
hell
made
yeah.
sure to take my medicine before so I wouldn't just go off the fucking rails.
Are you on like a shitload of meds? I'd
I'm
assume so.
switching back and forth between certain medicines and
Yeah.
shit. It's a trial and error, and the only problem is with these high stakes and like comedy clubs are trying to succeed or paying bills and everything. Like the trial, it can't really error, otherwise I'll fucking end up in a hospital or a fucking cop car. Like
Yeah.
that's the only thing that bothers me. It's
Is
like
what if you fuck your meds because you don't really care about going off the rails. You just don't want the repercussions. Like
no, it's just I don't want to just have a crazy outburst in a place where I can't have a crazy outburst. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Because everyone knows you as like the nutty dude, but like under control.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I
well,
mean?
that's what I think. I don't understand is some people think that like it's an act, and then some people think it's all the way crazy, and it really is just like a balancing act at all times
Just
of
trying to
like,
stay normal, dude.
yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up because one of my buddies who's a comic, you probably know him. I don't want to call him out in case he doesn't want to be named, but yeah, he told me one time we were talking and your name came up somehow, and I was like, damn, random fucking rules, dude. I love that guy. And he's like, I heard from somebody that was all an act, and I was like, please don't be true. I was like, please don't be an act. I want
I
this to
kind
be
of
fucking authentic, dude.
I sorry, that's the fire department behind me. It's the thing is, it's like I have to. I know it's fucked up.
I thought it
I
was a
will.
baby crying.
I'll
Sometimes I
let
got
it.
my kid. Go ahead. What do
No,
you say?
I'll let it kind of be an act only because I like a little bit has to. Because if I like, let's say you see me in the streets and I'm like crying, I want to fucking kill everyone. God sent me on this planet to fucking murder everyone. I have to be like, oh guys, I'm just trying to be an edge lord. That's not how I really feel.
Oh, I got you. So you're like, these are real thoughts, but you have to kind of be like, haha, isn't it funny, guys?
Yeah, like I don't definitely want to kill myself.
Yeah, I totally
Like
don't
that.
think about killing myself all the fucking time. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
an act. I'm an edge lord. I'm trying to be shocking.
Yeah, whatever. It fucking works, dude. I can't remember the first time I saw you. It had to have been, it had to have you've done compound shows, right?
Yeah.
It had to have been, it was either compound or gas. It was Real Ass Podcast, one of the two.
Yeah,
And
those
I
are
was
the
like, this guy's the fucking man, dude. You was spitting some fucking, I want to get into some hard truths about women,
oh yeah.
cancel culture, especially in
Yeah.
comedy, which fucking I agree with. And I can't even remember what else because you do go on fucking tangents that are great. But those are the two main things I take
But
away
that's
from.
one of the things I fucking hate the most is like if I it's almost like I have to say being the issues that I have are an act because when I say like oh I have PTSD and schizophrenia, now let me tell you cancel culture and how to fix it and how it's coming from corporations, people are like oh he just said he was schizophrenic, so it's like it invalidates every
Yeah,
fucking thing I say, so it's like maybe I should just say it's all an act so I can just I don't know be taken more. I
I'm
don't know,
so happy. I'm so
it's like
happy that it's not an act, dude. I was
I
bummed when
don't
my buddy told me that.
I would who said I don't give a I it'll be all love. I don't give a fuck who it is. I kind of want people keep saying it's an act. I want people to do that
Yeah,
because it's like
might as well. There's no such thing as bad press, right, dude?
it's not even that. It's just like because it's almost like I'm trying my best. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be fucking schizophrenic or think weird thoughts. It just it's almost like I want to be normal. So it's a give and take because I want people to understand it's a different lens, but it's also I don't want to be treated differently. So I know that's like a selfish fucking thing, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know.
No, I
I
get
don't
where you're
I
coming from. If it was an act, you should win a fucking Oscar, dude.
but
Because
what part of it do they think's an act?
no,
That's what I don't
they
get.
just think like your crazy guy thing is a shtick. Like it's like a bit. You know,
I
you're not that crazy. But I was like, fucking fooled me if
But
he
that
is, dude.
no, but that's the thing is I try to fucking be normal. Like when I started in comedy, I just thought, all right, be yourself, and I was in really abusive situations and really out lashing out. But then like I'm like I have to check myself to be like, don't call that woman a cunt. Don't fucking say this person's name who may have done something like, you know what I mean? Like kind
Yeah.
of think about reality around you, which it's really hard for me to do because I live my life just like going on the roads, like fucking touring, traveling, just by myself at a loner. And now that like I want stability, which is financially, and I want a relationship to work out, it's like I have to be something I can't fucking be, which is normal. Like someone who
Yeah.
can not have crazy tangents at like 3 in the morning, not fucking just get on a bus and go 3 states over to just talk to people. Like I need to figure out how to normal
Yeah.
or at least make the fucking craziness some sort of spectacle
Exactly.
like all comics do that I'm trying to think of a comic who didn't kill themselves, but they make it like whether it's their like drug like whether they make their addiction like kind of part of the act in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm trying to think of someone too who was like a fucking nutbag that just kind of leaned into it. Because I mean, most comics are fucking out of their minds, anyways. Maybe not schizoaffective or whatever, but
Yeah,
something. You know what I mean?
but that's
Depressed,
like just
anxious.
because that doesn't happen all the time, like, and that's why the thing I would say about my mental health is it's like I'm just normal and kind of weird until you can tell I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I can have crazy shit happen to me and not be affected, or like there was one time me and my girl were going on a hike and I just kind of had this breakdown of like why is this happening, why, and I just like I felt like there was a tornado coming, like I was in a tornado and that I had no control and that like fucking God had given me some weird purpose or sign and I was just trying to understand why. But it's really just like heartbreak to the like, you know what I mean? It's like just
Yeah.
emotions that I don't fucking understand.
Yeah, you thinking you're the Messiah is really just your brain going all fucking
Well,
wacky.
that part is
Overload.
kind that is like I'm gonna be 100% real with you. Like
Go ahead, dude.
that to me is like an act based on a lot of real shit that will happen to me. Like I'll have episodes where I think I'm meant to save the world,
Yeah.
and then I realize how stupid and ridiculous that is. So almost to mock myself, I'll be like, I'm the comedy god. I'm the fucking second coming of Jesus. Look at
Yeah.
me. Like
Yeah.
I know I'm saying it to be weird, but it's like it's those are
Dude,
I
I
don't
love
th-
it. Don't
I
tone
don't
it
think I'm
down
a
at
messiah.
all.
It's just what I like is the reaction of people when I say no, I'm the comedy god. I was sent down and all these other influences, and they're like, he really thinks that he's a fucking narcissist.
Yeah. No, I love it, dude. Fucking don't tone it down at all. It fucking worked. Imagine if you tried to, and real quick, I think that's a good point that you're like, oh, I'm on a mission from God. I'm this, that, and the other second coming of Christ. But then you're not full crazy because at least you have the realization later on, like, oh, that was fucking,
Yeah,
and
and
then you
that's
can
the thing.
turn it into funny.
But then the problem is that like I get why people are uncomfortable with me or they feel a certain way towards me because it's like well, when is he kidding and when is he serious? Like,
Yeah.
when do I think my life is pre-damned, and if I don't do some crazy shit, I'll like save the souls of heaven? And when am I just saying it to fuck around?
Yeah.
Because that's also a thing. Like, I guess I try to blur those lines, because like if I'm tweeting it out, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
either want to be funny and people are like, oh, look at this gimmick and this act, or I'm just like feeling really kind of sick about life and my future and all that other shit.
So
So
it's like a mix then. It's probably
yeah.
like 75% you, 25% like I'm a fucking nut job. Let me just lean into this, make it funny, make it a spectacle, and fucking make people happy.
Well,
Because it does.
because
Makes me fucking laugh, dude. When you go nuts like that, it's awesome.
because to me it's like, it's almost like I feel like it's, I'm just everything kind of reflected. Like a lot of comics either have addiction issues or angry or
Oh
insecure
yeah.
or resentful or hate the world or can't get over their past or drug addict, and I'm just the only one that's just like, I'll let you know, I fucking want to kill everyone from my past. I fucking hate it. Like so many things in life I see as just worthless. Like the comics feel that way, and they try to like not act, they try to act like they don't feel that way. And
Yeah.
that's why I feel like there's such a weird polarization to me, is because I'm like every comic's thoughts expressed. You know what I mean? I'll say, I wish everyone in this comedy club could be fucking shot. And they're like, I'm not saying that to be shocking. I'm saying because it's like, you know, the moralities of it and watching demoralization and everything. But it's like, that's how other comics feel. And they've thought that stuff.
Yeah, if there's
So,
a bad crowd, they're like, I just wish all these people would gassed. But they're just gonna think that, and then you say it, and they're like, look at this fucking crazy guy, dude.
or
You
he's
know,
just
I'm
saying
all
that to be
set.
shocking. He's
Yeah,
just a
yeah, yeah.
normal fucking computer guy. And but it's like, I don't know. I just,
You don't strike me as a big computer guy, are you?
no,
Are
not
you good with
really.
him?
I'm trying to be. Within the last couple of years, I've tried to be better with it, because I always, I remember a time where there was no internet and you just lived
Oh
like,
yeah,
you know what I mean, like
me
hanging
too,
out
man.
doing whatever,
Early childhood, but
like
yeah, there
exactly,
used to
like
be a time.
touch it, like other kids and you would be like touching each other and stuff, because there wasn't helicopter parenting or there wasn't
Hmm.
phones to record it, and it's just, it was like kind of mayhem, that sort of shit. Whereas now I feel like since people are in front of a computer all the time and they only see me on a computer, they assume that their life is like that. But I try not to, because it's, I don't know, I
Yeah.
feel like that
Do
that's
you
the
think
decline.
do you think like Unabomber? Do you think with smoked like technology's gone too far? It's just gonna keep going and going and going.
Yeah, and that always makes me wonder if it's like almost like, was it meant to be? Because if you think of
Yeah.
like cavemen and apes and everything, were somehow formulated this like energetic sort of internet wire. Like imagine a group of monkeys, they figure out the internet and rockets and space and technology and artificial intelligence and sentient beings, like how they then almost like, isn't it kind of some flow that it was meant to happen? But yeah, the Unabomber sadly was right.
I
I just
know.
don't, we're going to be enslaved by technology just on a daily basis. You can see that people don't really think for
It's
themselves.
already
Like
started.
the majority of times people critique me or make comments, I can tell whether they thought of it themselves, or you know what I mean? Like there's certain phrases that are just said
Yeah.
throughout the internet that people, I'm trying to think of a specific term.
So like, how many like?
Sorry, not sorry. It's something that
Okay.
just, but you get what I'm saying? Like it gets
Yeah, yeah,
stuck in
yeah.
people, because that's just, people are kind of more programmed. So it's like if people are using phrases that I've seen like programmed, then you get what I'm saying? Then it's like I can
Hundred
tell their
percent.
thought is not from some authentic place. It's just from
Yeah,
some
it's like a
YouTube
weird
video.
it's a weird collective of like social media, YouTube, for the
Yeah.
fucking news and shit, and they're just no one has their own fuck. I mean, not no one, but the majority of people don't have their own fucking personality anymore,
Yeah,
or
and
their
but
own.
because that's what it is. It's not only are, is it like the machines are downloading all these thoughts and all these emotions and all these things onto someone. They also now, it's kind of like an egocentrical, like everyone's a celebrity now because you're
Yeah,
posting something on Instagram or Twitter, or so you're giving an image of what you want others to see, and others are perceiving you from the image on social media. So it's like, it like creates a distorted ego and reality all around. Like I can't imagine being some like 12-year-old who posts pictures of themselves on Instagram, then is getting
dude,
a bunch of likes, then they think
brutal.
they're that person, then they attach an identity to it. So it's like, it's literally like a video game. Like, you know how you like make avatar
I
characters,
was
you
just gonna say
customize your
that you have
character,
an avatar that's not you, but that's what you want
but it's
everyone to
out
think
there in
of.
the world and it
Yeah,
affects you. It could make you money, or it could get you canceled, or it could get you in a fight where someone would want to dox you. It's like people are playing out their entire reality based on these like avatar characters,
Yep. People
which is
think
kind of like the
Twitter and shit is real
simulation
life.
theory.
Dude,
Is
I
it's
know.
like, imagine if we're just like, this is random tweeting out
Oh,
and
like
we're
in
just
an
in the
alternate
universe.
reality. Yeah. And
Yeah, like
this is
this is the
Ben's.
Twitterverse, and all these thoughts are
Yeah.
just like tweets or writings that are coming out.
That fucking scares me, dude. And there's a lot of evidence that there's like alternate realities and alternate timelines and shit. It's not even like weird conspiracy anymore.
Yeah,
And
well, the
like,
simulation only scares me because it battles between like, is there really a soul or is this just a like chemical program? Do you know what I mean?
yeah, they say everything in nature comes down to zeros and ones, which freaks me the
Exactly.
fuck out. That everything's
Yeah.
binary code.
Well,
That
that's
scares me.
like the our universe. Like you look at the solar systems and the planets and everything, and that has an atomic number. So it's like the way universes and galaxies look is the same thing as like when you look at a microscope or
Yeah.
you look at cells and atoms. So it's like, that like that kind of breeds a little bit of nihilism of like humans are like, we
Yeah,
could
you get
say
black pilled. You're like, oh fuck, there is
we're just
nothing.
viruses and everything, but that's
Yeah.
where I try to find some spirituality, which I guess is crazy because it's like mental illness and spirituality. Like, where do I find God versus where is just me just being fucking insane? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's like the you remember the little universe necklace that the cat had in Men in Black?
Yeah,
It's like that, dude. It's fucking bizarre.
exactly. So it's almost like I'm trying to find something that I guess is like in some ethereal realm that makes life mean something. You know what I mean? Like if there was a God and then it said that, hey, this is God and this is your purpose and life's a spiritual path and you're supposed to grow, and then there's another one after this. Like that would be more comforting than just like, this is a virus and we're just enslaved by machines on a rock and we're cells that hurt each other. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
it's way scarier. Like the thought of heaven and hell is way more pleasant, or any kind of like whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it.
just afterlife,
Any kind of
universe,
afterlife, any kind of is
another
way more
dimension.
palatable than like, nope, that's it, dude. Like when you die, it's fucking lights out, like
Yeah,
sleeping without dreams, just black,
because
and then but you don't wake up, you know?
exactly. That's the reason that doesn't make sense to me, only because it's like, then why would this be? Like,
Yeah,
why
I
would
don't
this
know.
exist in the first place if there was just going to be nothingness?
That's what's fucked up because there's a probably about as just as good of a chance that that's it than
Yeah, it's
there
like
is some kind of.
50-50.
I think it's a coin flip, dude. I don't know.
Have you
Fucking,
ever done like psychedelic drugs?
I've never gotten to like DMT or and seen like
Yeah.
the like lizard people and shit like that. Have you ever gone down that route? I've just done like
Yeah.
shrooms and shit, like
Yeah.
light
Yeah. But
psychedelics.
even mushrooms, like let's say you're on like 2 grams or 1.5 or two
Yeah, like an
grams, like
eighth. An eighth is a good dose.
you get a sense that there's some other universe or dimension or something else out there.
Yeah.
And I always feel like just by default that infinity exists. Like I don't believe, like again, when we're zooming out, we're talking about the ball and or the cat and the necklace. You keep zooming out forever. It's not like that stops. So I just believe in my heart that there has to be something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe that's
I do
entitled
too.
or arrogant. But
I do too, and I don't know if it's because they pumped Catholicism into my head while it's still soft. I'm not like a
yeah,
good Catholic. I don't go to church. I'm not. I don't believe in probably I don't know 80% of it. But something in my guts like there's got to be something.
exactly. That's what it
Something.
is.
There's got to be something, and I
And I
don't
feel
know if
like that's
that's
why.
human nature or programming from an early age. I don't know.
No, that's exactly how I feel, because like I was raised religious and then like I went through the rebellious phase of like, it's all a lie and it's just
Yeah.
man-made and there is no religion, but then trying to find a spirituality in that. Like I always saw, like even if Jesus wasn't real or Muhammad or Ganesh or Buddha, like they're metaphors that we're trying to teach people for a reason. And
Yeah,
people took that, corrupted it, and used it to fuck kids and
dude,
make money. But
we
it's
have the
like there is
exact same
a,
thought.
yeah, that they're symbolically what they stood for was just love, compassion, kindness, sincerity, to like make the human experience more like heavenly.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of like a set of basic morals to be like, hey, man,
Exactly.
this is what we're going to live by. And then, just like you said, man got a hold of it and was like, oh, dude, we could use this for cash,
And
fucking
scare
kids,
people
power, fear, all the
and
things.
control people
Yep,
and get them to build our castles and shit.
exactly. And now that fucking trick has ran out. And then it's like,
But
not, you fast forward to like fake, endless wars. And then you fast forward to 9/11, and now you get COVID-19.
yeah, and
Kind
that's
of
where
like
I
the
feel like
similar path.
it's almost like I feel like that's where the idea of identity politics and social justice is, if you notice, it's parallel to religious beliefs.
A
Like the
hundred
way they would
percent.
fight it is the same way, like when, remember back in the day, the Westboro Baptist Church,
Mm-hmm.
like how demented they believed their God was right and all other gods were wrong. And they is the same way that a social justice will say like white privilege, systematic racism, feminism, me too. Like that, it's the same neurotic radicalism, just filtered in a different format, almost like social justice is their new religion
I
because
agree.
they treat it like gospel. They'll like
Yeah.
destroy their best friend or their family member if they slightly don't believe the gospel or doctrine of social justice.
Yeah, and you can
So
even be like pretty quote unquote, and I agree with that 100%. I've said that a million times that SJ, social justice and science are the new religion.
yeah,
That's the new Christianity for modern day.
exactly.
And like you said, you could be pretty like what they would consider woke. Like, yeah, dude, you know what? Have abortions. I don't give a fuck. If you want to be a tranny, go ahead. But if you're just like,
Yeah,
maybe you shouldn't give hormones to 2-year-olds, they're like, you fucking piece of shit. It's like you literally committed blasphemy. Like the
exactly.
slightest thing that's not the status quo for them will
And
really
the
fuck them up.
and that's the problem, is it's almost like they took these things because I had this argument with someone because I believe people should, like gay people should be able to get married, and they said they shouldn't. And like I couldn't understand it. Why is it your business? And then the argument he said was, he said because human nature is conflict. Like there's not 100%
Hmm.
civility. There's always going to be people that want to conquer. So it's
True.
almost like there's an ideological battle that, you know what I mean? Like it goes back and forth. There's never like there's never a restful period. It's like if we, and I think we should have gay people get married. I think gay
Yeah.
people, you know what I mean? But then it's like, well, then they want kids to be like gay. And it's like, all right. And then they want to teach sexuality to kids. Like it is a cycle, which I don't believe in suppressing, but I do believe in acknowledging that, everyone who has their agenda, it's not like, saying rape is bad just because they feel it's bad. It's because it trickles down to an ideology of like, oppression and victimization, patriarchy versus female oppression versus all these narratives in history. So it almost like turns into like they're fighting what like they've made it to be like this is Nazi Germany, and if they don't cancel this one person, then the Holocaust will happen and everyone will be in camps. Like that's how they've manifested it in their mind. So that's why everyone's so serious about, he said rape, and in their mind rape means calling on a dictatorship that is going to kill them and their family and everything they believed in, because that's like, their fear of hell. So
Yeah.
that's why like everything's so ultra sensitive, and media knows that. That's why they lean into it.
Of
That's
course
why
they
there's
do. No one will
conservatives
fucking watch,
and
but they
liberal
didn't.
exactly. And then it's just, they filter it through the culture then promotes it, and then the politicians say it to appease the culture, and the corporations pay them off. So it's just kind of a cycle of just kind of a negative irrational
It
ideology.
makes my brain want to explode seeing what's going on right now. It's like these people are supposed to be the resistance, the fucking this, that, and the other. And it's like, dude, if your resistance is sponsored by like Nike and every video
Exactly.
game and every app, I thought, dude, one of my heroes, Tom Morello in Rage Against the Machine, is like
Yeah.
doing concerts for Biden, wearing masks and shit. It's like, what was that? What were you even saying in the 90s, dude? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. It's not
It's
like
it's
this.
it's
Yeah,
like they
sorry, I got
say,
distracted. I was looking at the chat real quick. I thought it was me
it's
talking. I was like, no, fucking, yeah, dude. Like, how fucking stupid. And like you said, they're in like this religious bubble where they're just like in this fanaticism where it's like, how can you not just take a step back and be like, wait a second, why are all the politicians and corporations agreeing with me? Like, other than save like, maybe like Trump and like a few of those type
exactly,
dudes.
because they feel like they're still in the I'm trying to use an example other than wrestling. They're still in like the Easter Bunny is real phase of it, where they really believe AOC is fighting for their rights and
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg. Like they believe that's just some 17-year-old chick, not just some girl who was paid off by a corporation and fed lines. And you know what I mean? Like they
And
don't
she's an
realize,
autistic chick. Who knows how much she knows? She's a dumb teenage autistic chick. But
but it's
of
also
course,
like
a
they think,
corporation gets on
yeah,
her and is
that's what I'm
like,
saying
"There's,
is
there's our girl."
that's what I'm saying is they think like they think that that's authentic when it's not. Like you said, it's being manufactured, or you said like your logos Nike, and it's like when Netflix says Black Lives Matter, it doesn't seem like an underground movement. It seems like a corporate propaganda thing.
Yeah, when this was just Antifa's running around on the street, you're like, all right, I guess I don't agree with them. I'm
Yeah.
talking a few years ago, like when they first
Yeah.
came out, before it became like, yep, you can't have Thanksgiving, but we don't care if 50,000 people protest. It's another thing where it's like, dude, just use common sense.
Exactly.
Take your politics out of it, take your religion, science, whatever. It's like, if they say that this virus is as bad as it is,
Mhm.
why the fuck can't I? Someone made a great point. In Oregon, if you have 7 people at Thanksgiving tomorrow, you can get arrested or whatever, get fined. But if there's 5 people in the same house just shooting heroin, completely legal because the limit's
Yeah.
6 people. So it's like, what kind of whatever, legalize drugs, dude. I don't give a
Or
fuck.
if they're protesting for whatever reason, that's not.
50,000 people can protest, and I saw headlines that literally made my brain just go like, where it was like, um, doctors say protests for George Floyd or whatever the fucking protest of the week was doesn't cause spread of coronavirus. However, if you do protest the stay-at-home orders, it's like what the
Because they
fuck are you
know
talking
this
about?
is why, and this is what's sad, and this is what fills me with a lot of sorrow,
Me too,
is
man.
they know they can just lie and say things and people will believe them. And if
Yep.
you say 1,000 lies to 100,000 people, they're going to believe some version of reality that's not real. Like these people literally believe they have to stay inside and it will save everyone while their business is sinking or they're destroying the economy or it's for some bigger agenda. But then they believe they won't catch corona if they're protesting because it's the righteous thing. Like there's
Yeah.
rationalities like a
They
decade
believe in
lost.
science unless it gets in the way of their social agenda.
Exactly, because that's what they like. It's like growing up in a cult. That's what, that's what their parents taught them. That's what
Yeah.
education's enforced. That's what culture says. So it's like if they want to feel worth something, if they want to belong, if they want to feel the survival instincts that we feel to adapt to our environment, is to just believe the social justice stuff and all that and just like ride it like a doctrine. And that's why I feel bad. Like I was thinking about Antifa, and they show the mug shots, like a lot of out of shape, not good looking
A
people.
lot of
But
rough
here's the thing:
looking
is
characters, dude.
this is the
Holy
thing
shit.
is I noticed that it's people who like it's almost like society has encouraged this easy way out because instead, like, look at those people. Instead of like, maybe you should get on a better diet, maybe you need medication, maybe you need therapy, maybe there's some abuse or trauma that's going on or mental health issues, or maybe you're misguided and you feel worthless about your future. Instead of working on all that, which will take years, it's the patriarchy's fault. It's the white supremacy's
That's a
fault.
blame
Just
game.
get in this group, and you have an excuse why you feel like a failure. You have acceptance by your peers, and you have that thing that makes you fulfilled and purposeful. Like you get to like it's like they give you an easy pass to just like, and then it's encouraged if you're an Antifa member. So it's like all the negativity and hostility is encouraged by media, and it like mentally and psychologically, if you're an unwell person, like you fall right into those categories because, like I said, it gives you that like the chemical dopamine of reward system by
Yep.
protesting. And that's why like I don't understand the value of protesting, but I understand the chemical thing that goes on. Like if you're locked down and you feel sorrow and you want to believe that this is the end of the system that you want to be against or for, like if you're in a protest, your adrenaline's going. It's like a mosh pit. It's
Dude.
loud, it's screaming, your adrenaline's going. So then if you're a part of it and you start chanting along, you feel a collective of other people, and then your brain tells you you're doing something worthwhile. So it's like that's what radicalizes people, is just the fact that they can't feel those good feelings anywhere else except like
Yeah.
either drugs, watching TV, or joining the quote unquote resistance.
Yeah, dude, spot the fuck on. It's like they have no sense of agency, like you said,
Yes,
where no
exactly.
sense of self agency, where it's like, why am I a fat gay loser
Yeah,
going home to a pool float in like my great aunt's basement? And it's like, not my fault, dude. Definitely Trump, definitely the patriarchy,
it's white
definitely
supremacy.
it's
I would
white
be
privilege.
doing such good. I would be a
Yeah.
celebrity if it wasn't for, but
Yeah,
I
it's
fall.
nutty. And just like you said, mosh pit's a great example. I was gonna say, like, have you ever been to a sports game with
Yeah,
50,000 people chanting, dude? There's
yeah.
something magical about that.
And the
You know what I
fact
mean?
that they never either really grew up around that, or now it's all closed down and the only kind of concert thrill you can get is a like race riot.
Yeah, they're all. And here's the thing, dude, you should protest for the right shit, but And I guess it's kind of a perspective, what's right and what's wrong in your own head.
Exactly.
Like they think like me protest. If I wanted to really fucking put a sign on a stick and go down and protest a lockdown or for shit that I don't,
Yeah.
believe against, it's like, fuck, what was I just going to say about this? It's like we should be rioting in the streets, like all of us against the government right now. I
Yeah.
mean, this is unconstitutional as fuck, dude. This is everyone's just laying down and taking it too.
But
We
that's
just
why I feel like I'm kind of on the queue of maybe believing Trump isn't part of them. I don't believe he's an American force, but it's like it would be cool if he was, because he had billions of dollars. You know what I mean? Like it would be cool if he was going to fight, quote unquote, against the system. But I
yeah.
just the nihilistic nature believe he's just another puppet of distraction. Of this is the, it's almost like they're making you look at Trump while they're robbing you and microchipping you and
Yeah,
locking
yeah,
you in your
yeah.
houses, and you're looking at Trump thinking he's starting these race riots and white supremacy and Antifa, but like they're the ones getting robbed. It's a psychological mind game that
I'm
the Republicans and Democrats are playing with each other, and people are caught up in it so much to where I kind of hope maybe Trump is someone who could save people, but he's probably just another, paid asset, a part of them.
probably, dude. And I'm of the same school of thought where I really hope he's like the one dude who's like, you know what, I got this much money. I mean, there's a lot of evidence where you can look at it and go, he has a reason to. He's made all his money. He doesn't give a
Yeah,
fuck. And all these people have done is shit on him. Obama
exactly.
shit on him
That's
and said he'd
that
never be president.
that's
Epstein, dude, when
yeah,
he went bankrupt one time, when he was competing with Epstein because they were both real estate moguls. I think this is
mhm,
like early 90s, maybe late 80s. Epstein, to fuck with them, used to send him lunch to his office. Like, here you go, you broke piece of shit, because he knew he was
yeah.
bankrupt. So the fact that like he's, quote unquote, rolling up the pedophiles or draining the swamp, whatever you want to call it, I want to believe that that's the reason, and that does make sense on that level where like
But
he's just an egotistical guy who wants to get back at these people. But at the
and
same time, you're right. Let me just finish this one thought
all right.
where he could just be someone they threw up to rile up the other side. Everyone's all jacked up on get Trump the fuck out, and then they kind of just squeeze us right into the what they call the totalitarian tiptoe, where it's like
Yeah.
now you can't go outside, now you got to get a vaccine, now you're in a fucking camp,
And
now you don't own your house. You know what I
Trump's
mean?
just gone to
He's
another
just
country, and we're
gone,
left
dude.
with, and that's the other thing is the reason against it is if there was truly like a sense of America, like wouldn't the
Yeah.
media be supporting that if they were
No.
American? But exactly. So our media is outsourced, and the fact that every politic comes such visceral hatred kind of is the stage show that they're not for our country. Like our country isn't owned, like mainly it's owned by China and possibly other places, and Russia has a little money in this country. But to think that there's a Christian American patriarchy, that's fucking gone. That's been gone since
That's
like the 60s.
that's yeah, basically like after the Korean War. Yeah, basically once I think it
World
was
War
basically I
II,
think once they
Kennedy.
I was gonna say once they whacked JFK, God rest his soul,
Yeah,
good Irish Catholic boy from Boston. Once they whacked him, and you can look back, there was two others. There's Abraham Lincoln, and I can never remember the third president because there's either three or four that have been assassinated. People usually only think about Abe and fucking JFK. And
yeah,
this and the same set of things lines up with all three or maybe four of them. I don't know how many it is. And it's well, back then there was no CIA, so it was the Federal Reserve
yeah,
instantly killed. Okay. And then with JFK, days before he got whacked, he goes, I'm going to smash the CIA into 1,000 pieces. Bang, dead. So it's
yeah.
kind of like, is it this weird intelligence community type thing, or
Because it makes everyone money. It makes people more money to have hostile police in the streets and then to have Americans working a debt away to a country that isn't even theirs. That's why it's almost like Trump being a figure to them. It's like everyone makes money by, like, how many late night talk shows, their whole monologues about Trump, how many
oh
news
my God,
organizations,
dude.
24-hour anti-Trump and then pro-Trump. It's like the outrage and the fear makes more money than any of like the peace talking and anything. Like that's
It
like, I
does.
know this is stupid, but that was the one thing I kind of liked about Biden, even though I knew it was fake. It was paid off by the corporations, but I liked the kindness, saying like we aren't in this. We're not divided. We're Americans. We should be kind to one
There's no
another.
such
And
thing as
it's like
red states or blue states.
exactly, like I like
USA.
that
It's like it's
shit, but it's
bullshit.
like
I wish you
exactly. I
meant it.
know
You know?
exactly. I wish it was real, but that's the
Yeah.
one thing I like the fucking just the kindness, but it's like
I'm
that's not going to
really
make anyone money. That's not going to make any news networks ratings go up. So they
fuck
have to
no.
preach the hate and
I mean,
like
I
I
get
would, yeah,
I was yeah, and it's the same thing with the endless Middle East wars. Wars make money. That's why we fucking
yeah,
go there. We're not only to scoop up the oil and opium to fucking fund all of our gasoline powered toys, and then also stop
yeah.
the opioid epidemic. It's if you just keep, dude, it's the book. If you haven't read 1984, have you, Mark?
I remember reading it in high school.
Yeah, it was like 200-300 pages. A lot of people read it in high school. I read it again recently, like maybe
Yeah,
beginning of quarantine, and it really fucked me up, dude. Anybody out there read 1984? It is fucking scary accurate. What's going on right now, or like where it's heading, where they're always at war with somebody that doesn't even really exist. I think
exactly.
it's like Oceania, Asiatica, and there's like a third place. It's basically getting close to a one world government in the book,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh yeah, we're fighting against Asia, and then the next day it's like Asia's our ally. Now we're fighting against the other one, and it's just like
exactly.
no one ever sees the war. No, there's really no one going over there.
Because it's imperialism and this is the
Yeah.
game. And sadly, like in an abusive relationship a couple of years ago, I learned this. It's pathological narcissism. And I realized that's what politicians use. That's what the media uses. That's what these culture wars are programmed to do. And that's what corporations do to like become more imperialistic and make money. It's you claim yourself as the victim. So you have like moral righteousness and high ground. You deem an oppressor and then you twist the narrative that they're harming you and they're a direct threat, and then you get morality and then you piece together a narrative that they're the bad guy, and then you dehumanize them with a bunch of propaganda, and
Yep.
then you can justify harming them and demonize them attacking you as they're attacking you, so you're the victim, and it's slowly you're conquering them with there's no civility, there's no peace, because it's you conquering them. It's them playing the victim and then blaming and them attacking and then blaming that person, and any attack is just, you know what I mean? And it's done throughout history. Like
Oh
you can
yeah.
see thousands of years of history of this way to conquer. It's pathologically manipulating them.
It's
That's
it's divide and conquer, and it's
yeah,
propaganda. And we've
yeah,
been propaganda. Me and you have been propagandized on the other side, because it's like maybe
yeah.
we're fight. I mean, and it's the same thing when you get that. Like when I read something, and I'm sure you too, like on Twitter or whatever, and it's that insane. Like I can't. I'm trying to think of a good example, but like I don't know. Let me think of one. Like just like a social justice thing. Give me a canned social justice line. Like eh, I'm trying to think of a
You
really good
can't
one. I'm
speak
blank.
because it's you're coming from a place of privilege,
There
something
you
like
go.
that.
Perfect. White privilege. And I read that and I get like a reptilian visceral reaction of like
Yeah,
anger at that person. Like, first of all, how fucking dumb are you? And like, but that's also the same thing where I've been propagandized to quote unquote hate them and vice versa.
exactly.
They think
And
I'm a fucking Nazi,
And that's exactly
it's
that's where it's going to
whatever.
escalate, because what's going
Yeah.
to happen is we're going to be saying we can't cancel each other over words. We have to get together, because what it really comes down to is there are some arguments that white privilege and systematic racism are real, but the problem is they push that all the way. And the problem with that is you're generalizing, because if you're seeking it life individually, like individualism, then there is no systematic racism and there is no white
Yep.
privilege, because it's focused on individuals, and statistics could prove that. But if you generalize, then you group, and then it's like action, reaction, cause, and effect, where we're canceled and we're thrown in places because we're quote unquote Nazis and they labeled us that. And then we starve from the virus while they all thrive. And then, like, if our government says, join a force to put them in camps, we're like, we think it's immoral, but we have to fucking eat. Our kids are going to starve. So then
Yep.
we just become the guards. And that's, you know what I mean? Like,
It's
or they
scary,
say,
man.
like, the way social justice warriors, they rat on each other just to save their own ass. You know what I mean?
Oh
They might say,
yeah.
we will
You've
kill your
talked about
family
that at
if you're
extent.
not working at the border against these social justice warriors. I believe they're both being preached the same thing. The right and the left are both being preached that, that this is a dictatorship, Nazi Germany, and the right's being preached that this is Stalin, uh, Marxism. But
Yeah.
it's like when they act like that, they do shit that makes it that. Then the government can enforce that, and then the government can manipulate them that that's the truth. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that they both bounce off one another. The more fucking Marxist the left gets, the more totalitarian the right gets, and it just keeps going like that until sadly, I believe it might actually happen. I
Yeah,
believe there will
I
be some
think
kind of
this
genocide of
is
something.
until something until fucking Trump pulls a Hail Mary and at the end of this, or if Biden's gonna be president, who the fuck knows? But I feel like until something really fucking happens, shit hits the fan, dude, and not some fucking fake made up like false flag event. I'm talking about like an actual revolution where like people are actually dying in the streets. Until something like
Well,
that happens, it's gonna keep going this way, bro.
but that's sadly
The
what it is. Almost
you
like the
know.
being boiled slowly. Like maybe like the like the Kyle Rittenhouse or the riots that like those are slowly little bits of this civil war that's happening where like a MAGA person's killed or a Black Lives Matter person is killed. Like the team lines have been drawn and
Oh,
you're
it's red
pushing to a
team, blue
point.
team, dude, and you can't be in
Exactly.
the middle. It's pick a
Yeah.
fucking side, and they do that on purpose. They've been doing that with politics, and now politics has turned into everyone's life. Everyone's life. Do you remember
Yeah.
when no one gave a shit?
I
Someone made a
know.
great point. Remember the recount? I mean, I was only I don't know, 10 years old or something, maybe even 9.
Yeah.
But remember the recount with Bush and Gore? Gore was technically the president elect until I think something like December 15th or something of that year while they were doing the recount. And no one gave a shit. Nobody was really bugging out on either side of like, oh, you can't fucking recount this. You can't, you're ruining democracy. Everyone was just kind of chilling. And this
Because
is
there was
pre
so
9
much
11. So,
yeah, there was so much money to be made in other places
yeah.
like whether it was religion or whether it was war or to slowly infiltrate. But now it's like with the economy kind of where it is and the bankers really showing what they are, and now after September 11th, the war on terror, now that America's kind of planted itself all over the world, it's kind of like now it has to enforce what it was going to do, almost like it was a machine or a monster
Oh,
of
it is. It's the
of
fucking,
genocide.
what's it called?
And
The
that's where
military industrial complex.
exactly, and
That's
it's
all
like
it
this
is.
is where now the people from the economy sink, and that's where like the fighting or war comes in. So it's almost like I was saying, being boiled slowly like the frog. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like maybe there will be no revolution because too many people will either be in prison or medicated or fighting against each other or paid off by the system. And that's a
Well,
sad reality also,
or
is
just
how
so
many.
they don't even have to do it. They're what Stalin called useful idiots. That's what these
Exactly,
people
yeah.
are. That's what Stalin called them. It's like let's propagandize the fuck out of them, get them programmed to
Well, that's like
literally give their
conservatives.
rights away. Just give them
Yeah,
away. Please let me stay home.
that's
Please
what
make me wear a mask.
I'll
You
never
know,
understand about
I don't
liberals
get it.
is their whole thing is they're against Bill Gates because he's a eugenics, but then when Trump pulled out of the thing that he funded, they were
Yeah.
against Trump because they said that was against science. And then for them to say we live in a white patriarchy, oppressive tyranny, that's what they believe and that's what they say. So then why let the government fucking chip you? Why let the government instill a vaccine? Why let the government shut you down in your home? Why let the government like if you believe this is like that doesn't make sense to me.
That's my exact train of thought is like you used to be Chrissy Maya said this on I think it was when I did the episode about Chad Zumach. We got into like shit at the end of it about what we're talking about. And it was like, remember when conservatives were like the old grouchy, wicked religious, like it wasn't cool to be conservative. And Democrats were like the
Yeah, in
cool,
the early
young, hip.
90s they would
Yeah,
like cancel
90s.
like bands, they would protest like metal
Dude,
bands.
yeah, like the explicit content labels and
Labels were
shit.
all conservatives.
So yeah, that was all like far right guys, and everyone was like, they're the worst, dude. And then now it's completely flipped, and it's like, wait a second, now that's like the cool. I can't make any sense of it, and I think that's kind of the
There's a
reasoning
I
behind it.
figured it out, and I wished again. This is the real shit of like I wish I was more successful and famous and had a voice of influence so people could be awakened to this. It's what happens when something there once was oppression and then there's equality. So what happens in that shift of equality is they still feel like there's oppression, so then they become the aggressors, they become the oppressors. Someone wrote a book about it in terms of like it was feminism. They wrote a book about how there used to be a glass ceiling in the 60s and then women broke through that, so men and women had equality, but women still had the they're being oppressed mentality. So then they started taking these overactions where they
Yes.
became the oppressor and they became the attack. And that's kind of what happened with black oppression, which is really just poverty oppression, but like the systemic racism flipped the other way, where now it's like you can't say anything bad about a black person, you like get canceled and your job taken. It's like it shifted the other direction. And I'm not trying to claim white victimhood, I'm just saying it's the equality is imbalanced, and that's what it is, because they still think they're victims. They still like Antifa, that the police really won't fuck with, that the police really won't like get mad if they cancel. Antifa still feels like the victim when they're the ones perpetrating all the
Yeah, they're literally
destructive
fucking
things.
people up. They're destroying businesses, fucking hitting
Yeah.
people in the head with bricks,
And
shit like
that's
that.
exactly the thing. They'll burn down black communities while believing they're doing it to save black communities.
It's banana
That
land, dude.
exactly.
And there's probably 3 black kids who are like, basically like whitewashed black kids in that whole group
Yeah.
of mob.
Yeah.
And the actual black people that live in these neighborhoods, dude, I've seen videos. They're like, get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
Get away from us, dude. We don't
Yeah.
want this.
And they
No?
realize, because it's a bad look on them. Like Black Lives Matter was this movement that started, I believe it was manufactured by liberal white people to make money off
100%.
the black cause. But
100%.
the authentic black movements always just get infiltrated. Like the liberals latch onto it and then like sell it out, and then it makes them look bad.
Oh,
Because
dude.
they'll travel on bus to a community, fuck up a black neighborhood, and then the police are just coming for the people there, which are the black people. So and then you have fucking celebrities bailing them out in the names of Black Lives Matter. Like
It's
it's painful. And it's like, if I said these things, or if I said the things about the psychology of how a victim becomes an oppressor outside of equality, like I feel like that would enlighten a lot of people's minds. But then again, that's just a messiah delusion.
no, dude. Like, trust me. I wish I wasn't a nobody so I could fucking spread some of my views, and it just to, not to like impose myself on people, but just at least make some people think. If a few more fucking are
Yeah.
like, hey, maybe this is, but two things. You're 100% right about when the victim becomes the oppressor. You said women, you said black people, and
gays.
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
gays. It went from, hey, please don't kill us and beat us up, to like, hey, tolerate us. Can you be tolerant of us?
Could you
To like,
please represent us in movies and television shows?
yeah,
And now
and
it's
then
like,
it went
if
to
you don't-
like, let
yeah.
me be a drag queen in front of your 5-year-old in kindergarten, or else you're a fucking Nazi. It's
And
like, all
then
right,
let
dude,
me
what
say
happened?
all the things I want to say about straight white people. But if you say one thing that might even resemble a gay slur, your job's taken away and you're stigmatized by the community.
Yeah, it's fucking and it happens in those 3 cases. I mean,
Yeah.
you can even this probably gets pulled from YouTube, but the Jews too, man.
Yeah.
Same thing. It turned from like, and they still kind of play that victim card, but you're like, come on, man, we're on to you. Here's this dude. This is a great fucking quote. Like you said, how BLM, they're not on the side
It's
of
the
black
one
people. It's
who you can't oppress.
no,
Is
it's
it
a
that
great Malcolm X quote. He goes, I pull it up. The white liberals who have been posing as our friends have failed us. The white liberal is the worst enemy to America and the worst enemy to the black man. Let me skip through because this is a huge fucking speech he had. There was a great one. He talks about the media. The media
Yeah.
is the most. This is back in the fucking 50s and 60s, dude.
Exactly.
The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent look guilty and the guilty innocent, and that's power because they control the mind of the masses.
Exactly.
I want to find. He talks about how he doesn't like white conservatives either, but he goes, the white conservative is the wolf. I'm paraphrasing this.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
The white conservative is the wolf. You know he's going to fuck you up, but you
Yeah.
know that. He goes, the white liberal is a fox. He'll slide in and get in with you and try and pretend he's your friend and then just fucking
because
jack
that's the thing. In a way, conservatives look at black people as equal. So it's like, if they're like, again, that's one of those, like, the same debate I have is whether you need special treatment or just to be treated equal.
That is so racist.
There's certain
right?
disparages that like inner city black people face that white people wouldn't, but conservatives will treat them equal, which isn't racist, but it's like, it leaves them, like to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, it leaves them no out. But then that's where liberals treat them like children, like with kid gloves. So it's like, there's no way black people are going to like thrive if you give them welfare, if you encourage more money for single parenthood, if you like have abortion clinics everywhere, if you flow crack.
Dude, it was called like the Negro League.
Exactly.
And if anybody doesn't know this, you can look this up. Planned Parenthood was originally called the Negro League, started by Bill Gates' father, and I always forget her name. It's Susan something.
But I also don't want to like see like I'm simping for black people because there's no love there. So fucking the white what is it? The epidemic, the job loss, the economy bubble. Like they curved the like middle class in a different way financially and in debt and like getting up interest rates and
Yeah, man.
usury. So it's like both part of the system. I'm just what I was saying is just so it's like conservatives are more so just treat them equally or be racist, whereas liberals are this. And I thought about it. I had an honest moment because I was thinking about that guy Seth, like I don't want to say his last name, but the guy who
Oh,
cancels other comics. I watched
pussy.
his bird poetry video, or no, but like he was around a bunch of black people and he looked really uncomfortable. And then I started to think about like if they never grew up around black people, you know, they grew up in LA, these like these rich parts or these trust fund college kids, Berkeley. So it's like they don't know how to interact with black people because they
No.
see some black cultures are different than white cultures. So they try to like compartmentalize this idea. So they invent white privilege and black oppression to deal with their own insecurities. You know what I mean? Because
Oh
like
yeah.
in a way, like if you see some 5'1" skinny white kid next to some black basketball player, he has to somehow rationalize in his mind the lie of like that we're all equal. So the way he compartmentalizes it, well, I have white privilege, so that's where I'm like mentally, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whereas I don't feel that fucking way. I'll say, oh, that black person's stronger than me or taller than me or
Of
whatever,
course.
but I have no fucking privilege over him. He has no privilege over me, or, you know, just except
Yep.
biologically or genetically. But it's like I see us as equal only because I've grew up around black people and
Where'd you
I've
grow up?
seen them.
Jersey?
Yeah, all over
Yeah.
Jersey though. But you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
100%.
I'm not uncomfortable around black
Me
people.
neither,
Like
man. I
I've
grew up in the
evaluated my
city.
feelings of like black people I love, black people I hate, like certain, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I've experienced the spectrum. So it's like I understand what black people are like. So I have a way of interacting with them.
It's so
Whereas I
funny.
believe these liberals have never had that. And the only, like you said, the whitewashed black people, the college ones, like the Trevor Noah
Yeah.
type of black, they're not really
Yeah,
black, but you know
fucking
what I mean?
the
Like,
Talcum X's, like fucking what's his
yes,
name? Sean King, who's definitely not black, dude. There's no fucking way he's black.
we're more
Sean
black
King.
than he is.
Dude, I'm Sicilian. I'm definitely more black than him. I probably have more
Exactly.
black blood pumping through my heart right now than
But
fucking
that's
Sean King,
but
dude.
that's the thing is, and those black people feel caught up because they're not in touch with like real blackness, but then they're in touch with this false whiteness where they have to feel guilty, but then bad. It's like it's a weird game that identity politics has played in our whole collective. And that is Russia in the 60s. Russia, they flooded the paper with identity politics and false statistics and
They did
stuff.
it. They did it to
And
us to
they,
try and fire
yeah,
up black people. Same with
exactly.
the
And they did
Germans.
it
They were like, "Look how
a
fucked
decade
up you."
ago.
Yeah, look how shitty they're treating you guys over there, just to try and fire them up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We do the same thing in other countries. You know,
exactly.
we're like, "Hey, look how oppressed you are, dude. You should probably try and overthrow this government." You
And
know,
this is where I feel fucked up because it's like the what I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, the genocide that's happening to the Muslims in China.
oh, the
It's like
Uyghurs.
yeah, it's like the way the coronavirus, the way the race protests, the way the election, and the way that it's all perceived through this media lens of it's completely justified and right, or it's completely wrong. You know what I mean? Like the coronavirus, the amount of lies they've said about it, and that Uyghurs genocide. It's like, are they going to camps? So they can be re-educated into the Chinese or the society and they're giving them jobs and they're giving them teaching them the language, or are they exterminating them? It's like I've seen both sides and
Yeah.
I don't know which is the truth, and that's what the media does. That's what it did about George Floyd, that's what it did
Yep.
about Kyle Rittenhouse,
Yep.
that's what it does about Antifa and Proud Boys. It makes these like polar opposite narratives and then pumps them to where it's like you don't know what's real. Like you ever hear Schrodinger's cat?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what it,
Yes.
that's what it is with like systematic racism or feminism or all these issues, immigration, abortion, gun control. It's like it both is and it isn't because all the facts are lies from both sides. And
Yeah.
that's where like
You can't make sense of it, and I think that's as to the common man, to the layman. I think that's exactly what they want. They don't want
exactly that's what
you
I'm
or
saying.
me to make any fucking sense of this because if
Exactly.
we're all riled up,
And now with social media, the fact that they can promote like hundreds of thousands of narratives and they've even pocketed certain things. Like if I say these, I'm labeled conspiracy theorist, I'm labeled centrist, I'm labeled like wouldn't do anything. You know what I mean?
oh,
Like they
dude,
already
I've been
have
called.
stigmatized
I call myself a
labels.
conspiracy theorist, but
But
like
what is the
just because what
label
else are you
for
going to
people who
describe it
doesn't
as?
vote? Like what do
You
they
know?
call you? They like the
Oh wow.
enabler. You see how they use these terms to
Yeah.
push you towards a fake ideology. You're an enabler,
Remember
or
when they
you're
were
an
like,
ableist.
Remember when they were like, vote, 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 vote? It was on, I fucking was constantly talking about it. It was on every app, every video game, like we were talking about earlier. Every corporate sponsorship says vote, 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 vote,
Yeah,
vote, vote, vote. And it's like, but if you had told them, like, yeah, I'll go vote for Donald Trump, they're like, oh, no, 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 don't do that. No,
exactly.
no, no, no. We don't want you to just vote, but we
Or
can't
like
say
I
it.
did, I voted for Kanye West and myself, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, you're an ableist. You're allowing the oppression to happen.
Yeah.
Like any kind of viewpoint that isn't theirs, they found these pocket labels to like to almost to discredit me. So it's like, sadly, like, let's say this podcast was being seen in front of 1 billion people, they wouldn't be able to see the truth in the lens that I do, because it's like they would have so many different associations of, well, he's just non-compliant, he's just problematic, he's just uneducated, he just doesn't know the truth, he
Yep.
just is looking at history skewed, all these things to discredit me. And they discredit millions of voices, and that's how they can, it's almost like misinformation is how they manipulate people. And when you
100%.
speak truth, they just add a bunch of propaganda around that. Like they'll speak 1,000 lies. So there,
I
it's sad, but
think,
the phrase
go ahead.
post-truth society is what it is, which is why I feel really hopeless the idea of enlightening people, because this is a post-truth society.
It is. It's fucking bananas, dude. And it's like, I think you should look at, oh, fuck it. Just heard something downstairs. I think if you're getting close to the quote unquote what's really real, I think that's when they cancel you. That's my thoughts, just by looking
Yeah,
at it from the outside perspective. I mean, Alex Jones nutbag sometimes, right about a lot of
exactly.
things, a
That's the
lot of
problem.
things, and it's like his weird WWF like persona that kind of goes.
Yeah.
People turn it off, and they've heard so much propaganda about him, or David Icke.
No, I haven't heard of
He's
him.
known as like the lizard person guy. He's this British guy. He's great. One of your good points where you were saying something about reaction. He's I don't know if he came up with it, but it's problem, reaction, solution. They create a
Yeah.
problem, let's say coronavirus. They know the reaction they're going to get, fear and panic and hate and all
Yeah.
this. And then the solution is wipe out small businesses, vaccinate everybody, what a multitude of things,
Well, the
whatever it
same thing
is.
with terrorism.
It's
It's like
exactly the Patriot
September
Act.
11th, and
Yep.
what do? We have surveillance cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
We have people
Every
more
phone call is
profiled.
tapped. Snowden
Yeah,
comes out, and then they go, "See you later." So he got close. Julian Assange, same thing. He got close, if not told the
exactly.
exact truth. Jones, Ike, all these people that get canceled, they're fucking looked at under a microscope and discredited. You're like, okay, there's some grain of truth in that,
And
right?
that's the saddest thing is, it's like how getting the truth out, it's almost like it doesn't even mean anything,
It,
because it's
it
like
makes me want to give
Edward
up,
Snow, exactly,
right?
that's what I'm saying, is it's like Edward Snowden proved the government's spying on people, but people, it's almost like it didn't even matter. It's
It
almost
didn't
like
even, yeah.
it was just a conspiracy you would talk about. I think the government's spying on us. But then when it was proven, no one went about their lives really any differently. They still
Nope.
trust the government. They still fight in politics. They still call you an ableist if you vote against something. Like, so
Yep.
it's just, this is
It's
where
almost
like
like it never fucking happened. And these are like high level guys who have leaked this shit. So, and it's kind of what they want, dude. I think they kind of want to just demoralize us and beat us down to the point where it's like, you can't do anything.
but then
Look
it's
what
also
happens to
like
this guy,
but then it's also like, in some sick way, it's almost like the Illuminati bloodline eugenicist. It's like, do they have a point? Like, if you could manipulate hundreds of millions of people, then should those people like be free? You know what I mean? Like, or
I get
shouldn't you
you.
manipulate them with media and medicate them and lock them in houses, which is sick.
But
I
it's
just wish there
sneaky,
was
sneaky tricks.
I just
It's,
wish there was some way to differentiate. Like, I feel like because I know the truth, I should be put in a different category than them. You know what I
I
mean?
feel the same, dude. And I feel like when
Because it's like,
when I
I
tell,
know you're trying to genocide us and sterilize us and all the propaganda. So can you, like, if I'm smart enough to see past the like the
can I
rat maze,
join? Yeah.
or no,
Yeah.
not can I join, but can I be exempt from it because I was smart enough to figure it out? And
True,
I feel
dude.
like, because it's like on, in a sympathetic way, like, that's sick. It's like, could I join? It's like, I logically, like, in my heart, I won't do it, or if I'm in a really fucked up mood. But this is why I do think of like genocide or extermination or eugenics, because it's like, at the end of the day, all the things we're talking about are the result of human ignorance and human cruelty. They can't get along. They can't really understand that they're being manipulated. So it's like, shouldn't they then just be like put in VR camps like in the Matrix? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, then I'm on the side of fucking Bill Gates and the Illuminati
Oh,
and Barack
fuck him.
Obama
That
and
piece
war
of
criminals.
shit.
and that's why it sucks. Like, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
get blackpilled easily, man, because I've looked into so
that's
much of this shit,
exactly
and I feel the same way as you, where I try and explain this to the layman and be like, just like basic shit, but like, hey, man, don't you think this, the mask thing's a little bullshit, or the vaccine's a little bull? Like, can you think about it for 1 second outside of your bubble? And they're like, oh, you fucking nutty conspiracy, and it's like, all right, why do I even try? Why do I even fucking try? You are so
exactly
psyoped into oblivion that it bums me out because it's like you've
exactly.
demoralized everyone to the point where it's like, do we just lay down and fucking die?
Or
Or
not even that, is it's like, if I'm gonna be like, this is where it gets sick. This is where, like, I just pray to God I have a happy future or something, because it's
me too,
almost
man.
like, it's like, all right, let's say that is the case and I lose so much of my life and I'm canceled and all this, and then they do offer me a job to be like a Nazi prison guard. It's like, you mean all the people that are fucking just, I see them as immoral savages, incapable of learning, incapable of getting along. Then it's like, you know what I mean? Like, taking the place of eugenics leader. Like,
Yeah, you
it
kind of,
fucks
yeah.
with me, because it's like, how do you enlighten these people that don't want to be enlightened? How do you save people that don't want to be saved? How do you love people that don't want to be loved? And then when they just fight you day after day, week after week, year after year, decade after decade, it's like, at what point do you just start to believe that genociding them is the solution?
Or just yeah, letting them just kind of get what comes to them. But unfortunately, we're in it's the haves versus the
Exactly.
have-nots. It's not red versus
Exactly.
blue or anything. It's literally us versus them, dude. And
Exactly.
like the lefty guys did have it right with the 1% shit, but they just fucked it up. And it kind of got destroyed. Like they did have it right with that, where it is literally
Exactly.
the
The
haves
bankers,
versus the have-nots. Not just the
yeah.
bankers, them especially, but like just any kind of elite, dude. Bill Gates, fucking the World Economic Forum, talking about the
Yeah.
Great Reset, the WHO. Fucking, dude, it's literally them versus us, and people
Yeah.
don't see that. They get hung up on little petty bullshit like it's a sports game.
Or they
Where it,
do and they shill because they
yeah,
realize, like, oh, it's hopeless. Like, if you're like a singer at the status like a Justin Bieber or like a
yes,
Drake, it's like, these people are never going to learn, they're stupid, and I could get a $10 million check by just peddling them oppression and peddling them Trump's a white supremacist and Joe Biden, you got to vote for Biden. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
they become, in a weird way, the shills are also black pilled. That's an interesting thought. I'm sorry, I just had that. The
No, that's
shills
great.
are also black pilled, like the Stephen Colbert and the Jimmy Kimmel and the, like, Barack Obama. They're also black pilled because they don't believe in hope for us either. That's why they're doing the shit that they're doing.
Yeah.
Because if, like,
Do you,
that's where people, and like, yeah, that's what all the Hollywood people, the fucking Amy Schumers and the political spokesmen, all those people, they don't believe in humanity either. They're black pilled, and that's why they're raining their sort of Marxist genocide on people.
Yeah, do you think? Now let me ask you this: say if you were in the position of a Dave Chappelle or a fucking Drake or an Eminem or one of these guys who's like
Yeah,
who went from just being a good at what they do and everyone enjoyed them
yeah,
into a political activist on top of what they do.
yeah,
Now, if you were given the choice, it's kind of like say like a nuclear holocaust is coming.
yeah.
Given the choice, like, hey man, you got some good shit out there. You want to come in the bunker? Like, you'll be all right. Like, would you do it? You know what I mean? Like you said, if the quote unquote elites or Illuminati or the deep state
Yeah.
or whoever came up to you and was like, listen, man, join us, you'll be all right.
My thing is, what would
Would
I
you?
have to do? Would I have to just be on Comedy Central every night, like making hacky jokes? Oh
Yeah.
boy, isn't Donald Trump stupid? Like,
Yeah.
what would I have to, or could I speak my truth? Could I speak the exact same shit I'm speaking on this podcast and then go in the bunker? You know what I mean?
I don't think they'd
Like,
ever let you speak your truths and then go in the
all
bunker.
right, that then
You'd
that
have to spew the agenda, but you live. That's the
But
thing.
in a way, I could also say this is part of the agenda because no one's going to fucking believe me. Furthering,
True.
like, we could also say I'm mentally ill and I'm crazy, kind of like Alex Jones. So you could use the truth to discredit it. But then in a sick way, I discredit my own truth by
Yeah.
discrediting truth. And now I'm stuck in a fucking paradox. And this is why I'm crazy. You're literally watching me being crazy right now. I peddle disinformation truthfully. And that's the paradox I'm locked in. It's
Yeah.
almost like I want to sell out to the Illuminati, and my agenda is by showing them a true agenda or no agenda. And it's like a locked, weird paradox now. Holy
I
shit.
want to be William Wallace and scream freedom as they're holding me down, torturing me, dude. But it's like at the same time, uh, like I just had a kid. He's not even a year old. And I said this on Twitter yesterday.
Exactly.
Could I
Yeah.
could I have picked a worse fucking time to have a kid than right now? I'm just
But
like,
this is
it would change my outlook on this completely. I'd probably be way more bummed out and miserable and crazy thinking about all this stuff without having
yeah.
him because he's the best fucking thing in the world. But at the same
Yeah.
time, he's everyone starts the race in different spots, right, in life.
Exactly.
He's starting right the fuck now, and it's like, where does it go from here? You know, where's he
Exactly.
going to
And
be at
that's
10, 20, 30? You know what I'm saying? What kind of psyops is he going to get fucking run on him? And I'm going to have to try and break through that. You know, if
exactly.
we're
And
not even
that's
in fucking FEMA camps by then, you
yeah.
know?
And that's the odd thing about it is I had a point. Something
My bad.
about oh no, it was like it's almost like I realize this, and this is something I struggle with. Is like I'm not a parent, but I'm around people that have kids, so I feel some relation to them. It's
Yeah.
like in a way, it's like you almost become by survivalist instincts a bad guy the moment you start to have a family, or even like my girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a single loner guy, I can be the hero, the Batman that signals the
You got
truth.
no
But
stake
it's
in the
like
game, right?
exactly.
You
But
can do
then once I
whatever.
like, if there's kids around or there's my girlfriend that I love, it's like I might sell out and chill because it's like fuck the world. I want to make sure me and her all right. You know what I
That's
mean?
it, man.
And that's probably how you feel about your kid. If they're like, we'll kill your family unless you start saying Black Lives Matter, then they give you 10 million. You're like, Black Lives Matter. It's just me and my kid. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So it's like
exactly.
by default with that. And that's why, like I said, oddly, I want to remind myself, I got myself caught in a paradox of I'm selling out to the Illuminati, peddling truth as false truth because they created a post truth world. You know what I mean? Like I'm a good
Yes.
person, but by default, with the way they made it, that's being a bad person.
Yeah.
And
You're
it's like,
saying wrong speak right now, as they'd say in
exactly.
1984. Yeah.
What
The
does that mean?
Ministry of Truth. Basically, the Ministry of Truth. It's like thought crime. And
Yeah,
like by you, like if you just have the opinion that's against the status quo, you're wrong think, you're going to they'll just kill you in the
but
book.
this is what I'm saying is it's like to be in like I'm being authentic with the truth right now, but then to be inauthentic, I could sell myself to the Illuminati and be like, look, you could just point me out at like an Alex Jones so everyone will think I'm crazy. So I can
Yes.
give people the truth, but we can say that I'm a lie. And then it's like I'm working with the Illuminati while also getting my truth out there, which is a fucked up thing. Because then morally, am I the hero who went down courageously, or am I the villain that deceives everyone? And that's literally where I'm caught up in. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, man.
that is literally the paradox I live every day is am I doing something noble or am I doing something treacherous? And it's like it's unknown. It's like it's both and neither at the same time.
It turns my brain to mush, and I think that's the
Yeah.
intent of it. Because like when you get into the okay, they cancel. Let's just say Jones again. They cancel Jones. So they fucking keep scrubbing him from the internet. They'll delete
Yeah.
everything he's on. They'll fucking everyone will attack him. This, that, and the other. Now, is he a psyop of a psyop though? You know what I'm saying? Is he spreading disinformation? Is he some kind of CIA asset? But he's been around.
Exactly.
He's been right about so much shit that
But you can always
I believe my heart
exactly.
of hearts he's
But
not.
it's like an artist that's real and then sells out and makes pop music. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I don't know how you feel about Joe Rogan, but if you cut him $100 million check, which he still is, but you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, he's
yeah, I
not the
guess.
same. He at his core, he's still doing kind of the same thing, but yeah,
Well, but
it's
that's what I'm
so
saying is
watered
it's like
down.
at what point is Alex Jones like if Alex Jones was a CIA informant, at what point was he really that guy spreading truth? And at what
Yeah,
point did they pay him off and then he started spewing propaganda? And
exactly.
that's kind of how I see everything. Because then I'm thinking like there are things that like Barack Obama when he said that thing about wokeness and cancel culture,
I
I
was
was
like,
like
holy
that
shit, Barack.
exactly.
There you go, bud.
That's kind
Yeah.
of odd that he said that. So it's like how much of what they do, it's kind of like they're like I'm trying to think of an example that's like a white person that they have a certain agenda when they're on their show, but when you see them personally, like Dave Chappelle's a perfect example. Like when he's on the quote, like the CNN, he's pushing the Black Lives Matter, but when he's speaking on his own, there's a lot more nuance to it,
Yeah, it's like
and
him
it's
doing
like
an SNL monologue as opposed to one of his, not his most recent
exactly,
specials, because they've sucked dick and they've all been
exactly,
SJW bullshit. But like maybe like two specials ago
Yeah,
Hilarious. But then you see him do the monologue, and it's like, we got to talk about 8 minutes and 46 seconds on.
exactly.
It's like, what? Come on, man.
That's the same thing I felt with Bill Burr. And I love Bill Burr, but
We
it's like
talked about this yesterday.
his
He's sold
SNL
out.
monologue was just like everyone's like, "Oh man, that was outrageous and that was great." It's like that was so fucking soft and
Yeah.
tame, and like there were so many punchlines he could have hit in authentic like 2008 Bill Burr that he didn't. But then it makes me wonder like maybe Saturday Night Live goes over your act, kind of like they
Oh, they definitely do.
fucking took off Kanye West when he just started going on his rant. So maybe they're like, Bill Burr's in contract with his people, and then he just has to take out all his jokes, and then
It definitely gets looked over and shit. They
it's like,
definitely like.
should we be mad at Bill Burr for not speaking the truth, or do we have to accept like that's part of the game? Is if you get to that level, you just have to spew nonsense.
Yeah, and I've said this about Rogan and Bill Burr before.
Yeah,
Is it's like
and Chappelle.
and But I haven't said it about Chappelle before because he's already
He
been
goes
making.
in the I know, but he goes in that
He
category.
does, but he's already been making buttloads of money since the Chappelle
Yeah,
show. Since before he went to Africa. So let's just say Burr and Rogan. They've been funny. They've been guys I've loved my whole life. They're both
yeah,
Massachusetts guys, which is great. And you can see them slowly soften themselves and turn into like Diet Coke versions of themselves. But it's like, dude, you put 100 mil in front of me. You put all things comedy and money in front of me.
exactly.
They both have families, so there's that too. And it's like, how much are you going to fight the good fight, or just say, stroke me the check for 100 mil? Me and my family are
Exactly. And
chilling,
that's what I said
right?
earlier. That's what I
Yeah.
said.
Go
Like
back
being
to
a
your point.
parent kind of makes you become the villain in that doing that. But what I'm saying is how much of it was Bill Burr, like just a Diet Coke version of himself, and how much of it was he realized like by contract that he couldn't say the things he wanted to say. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because that is
yeah,
part of playing the game. If
yeah.
you're on Saturday Night Live, you could say, here's what I want to say in my set. But at the end of the day, they're going to tell you what you can and can't say.
Exactly. And as bad as this
So
sounds,
it's like maybe the success just makes you like by default makes you the Diet Coke version of yourself.
I think it does. I think you just go, fuck it, dude. That's so much money that, like, yeah, do I want? And I feel like Jones is one guy where he makes a shitload of money privately, but you know what? That's not a good example because I don't think he could have kept doing what he was doing mainstream and got paid a fuckload of money. He'd have to change himself
He
completely.
exactly, or he could have, but he would have to add a lot more like craziness to it. Like he could say there's reptilian pedophiles in Hollywood, but then he'd have to like snort some blue powder and like pull his hair out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
make it so much more like
Over the top that people
discredited.
go, and they've already done that with him, and he
Yeah,
does do nutty shit, but that's just how he is, I think. And
yeah.
it's like, where was I going with this? Oh, like you said, how much of it is like these networks and shit. As bad as this to say, and I've talked about it with a few of Shane Gillis's friends, is him getting canceled from SNL was, as bad as it is. The money the kid would have made, the best thing that ever happened to him. Because he would have probably been telling some hacky fucking
But this
skit
is
jokes, and his career wouldn't have been as big as it is now,
I love Shane
right?
Gillis, and
Dude, he's my favorite.
I've been on three podcasts that he's been on
I've seen
after,
a
and
couple.
I've done great. But it's like I get it. There's a lot of people, and this is why I wish I was more famous in comedy, is they don't realize the fight they're fighting. Like I believe he had good intentions, but these people believe they're sensitive over jokes. They don't realize it's like a paid, orchestrated, infiltrated Marxist version of destroying the quote unquote system and believing comedy represents the system. So that debate with Andrew Yang, he didn't know what he was walking into. He thought these were people upset with jokes. He didn't realize that it was this whole like Marxist commie agenda with all these ideologies that were going to
Yep.
come down. So it's like I'm upset with these people for not being educated enough to where Shane Gillis just apologizes. I would have took every single debate. I would have been fighting left and right. I would have been, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
would have fought back, and that's what these comics need to do. They need to be informed. It's like I love Big J Okerson, but him shocked that like comics like Jake Flores and Seth Simons are trying to cancel him. His whole argument's the 90s argument of why are you getting upset over jokes? We could talk about it. Like he's standing this olive branch that they don't want to have.
Yeah, they
They're
want to
trying to
burn that
destroy
fucking.
you.
Yeah.
They don't want to make peace. They don't, it's not some misinformation. They're just full of shit and they're lying, and they're trying to attack you and destroy the Stand and the Sirius XM show. Like that's their game. And I'm more frustrated that higher up comics, because they don't have to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Chappelle doesn't have to deal with cancel culture because he made his
He's
own audience.
untouchable. He's
Same things
untouchable.
with like even like Nick Mullen or Tim Dillon, like it's almost like
Yeah.
we say comedy's dead because like trying to slither up to the place where you're getting paid for it and you can make a steady living, it's like that ceiling's closed. So then there's these comedians that say cancel culture isn't real, but they've already surpassed that ceiling where they can't be canceled because they already have their audience. They don't realize that like cancel culture is like destroying like certain survival techniques of
You do, and I think the
like for
original.
Shane Gillis, I would have never apologized. I would have taken every single debate. I would have fucking debated the whole world and I would have said this truth. And then, you know what I mean?
And then gone
So it's
about what
like,
he's doing now. Yeah. He I think the original Mullen Dillon kind of thing where once you get your own audience, you could just say fuck Hollywood. I don't need a fucking job
exactly,
in a like Mullen and Dillon. The first one
exactly. But
is my
then,
favorite comic ever, Stanhope. Once he crafted his
yeah,
own cult following, he can fucking he plays bar shows, sells out wherever he
exactly.
goes because
That's,
people go see him. You
yeah.
know?
But then, and then my only frustration is that is they say things like, oh, it'll be all like, you know what I mean? Because they get too accustomed like the Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon gets too accustomed to his success in the industry that he doesn't realize for an up and coming comic the amount of cancel culture, PC, shutdown, protest bullshit that they go through that defames their name. Like I have like a good example is I have like 1,000 Twitter followers.
Yep.
I had tens and thousands of Twitter accounts that kept getting shut down by social justice people that wrote fucking blogs about me to cancel me.
Yeah.
So they look at me and they're like, oh, who's this no name comic? It's like the reason you don't know me is because the amount of blacklisting and cancel culture that's like rained down upon me. And it just infuriates me that it's like, if you're going to be higher up than me, like at least speak the truth that I'm speaking so people like comics, so comedy can thrive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just angers me. That's all.
Dude, it pisses me the fuck off, and I'm not even a comic, and I'm just a huge fan of comedy and the whole scene and shit like that, and podcasting, and it fires me up too. Kumi
Yeah,
is another guy. If he wasn't on his 15th Twitter account, he'd have millions and millions of Twitter
exactly. Yeah.
followers, and now you just get compressed,
Well, the only thing is,
until you're
I'm
in this
not.
box.
Kumi is in a position where he can start a Twitter account and they know where his network is. They know where he is. He's established like a Tim
Yeah,
Dillon or an Alex Jones, and he
yeah, he's
has the
same thing.
Sirius XM money. I'm just starting out. You know what I mean? Like I'm a
Yeah, you
comic
can't
where
get to
if
that
I'm
level.
exactly if I'm
Yeah,
not hitting the constant marks all the time, then I'm just gone and I'm nothing, and I'm just some 1 week year open micer. So it's like for me to fight and have to try to get myself without falling down because that's what's happened. That's what happens is I start building momentum to my name and then it gets shut down and then I'm fucking no one again. And then it's like I don't mind that. It's just I hate the disrespect from people in the industry when it's like their non-compliance is kind of contributing. You get what I'm saying? Like
a hundred
I don't know.
percent. No, I'm following you 100%, dude. And fuck all of them. Did now. Well, fucking, we've been going for an hour 16. I wanted to first
Oh shit.
plug your shit, plug your documentary. You just had a comedy
Oh
documentary you did,
yeah.
right? And then I
Yeah.
want to make one last point, but go ahead.
All right. Yeah, it's on my website, markrandom.com. Who Killed Comedy on YouTube. The documentary is called Who Killed Comedy, directed by my lovely girlfriend and fiance, Lizzie Durazo, where it documents my first few months into comedy and the amount of blogs people wrote. The fucking FBI came after me, the fucking protests and the fights. And the fucked up thing is there's a lot of me getting banned from clubs, but there's certain scenes we couldn't show, just legalities of like physical confrontations and shit,
Yeah,
and certain people's names who publish blogs saying like ban Mark Random, then hundreds of people comment on it, like just for legalities to not get sued we couldn't publish or
yeah,
put
that
that shit in the
sucks.
documentary. But it's like there was so much bullshit going on that got to learn to not be resentful of it. But it's like everyone's like, why haven't we heard of you? And it's like this documentary is why you haven't fucking heard of me, because every single open mic I've went to, there's been some like altercation, verbal altercation, police coming,
Yeah,
fuck, you know what I mean, like bullshit like that. So
yeah. So
this
go watch.
documentary is like my vindication because it's like this is like I don't want to ever make excuses. I need to work harder. I need to network better. That's the one thing I need to do. I'm not trying to put the blame on anyone else, but it is
You're just
an
trying to shed light on
actuality.
it and just go, this is it, man. This is what the
Exactly. This
fuck
is
happens.
why I am where I am in comedy rather than where I should be.
I gotta check it out. So
Sorry for the
it's on your
entitlement.
website. No, 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 dude,
Yeah.
you're good. It's on your website.
Yeah, markrandom.com or YouTube, Mark Random Who Killed Comedy. And it's actually really fucking funny. It's
Dude,
there's a
there's
lot
some of
of
my buddies are in the chat talking about how much it rules. He goes, he loses a
yeah.
rap battle in the opening scene. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, there's it's because it is. I'm just it's like on the street interviews of me interviewing. I realize it's honestly kind of progressive because it's
Yeah.
all just blacks, women, and gays and some trans that I'm interviewing about comedy and censorship and culture. And I'm just it's off the top and it's just these one-liners one after the other,
Yeah.
and then some of my comedy sets. And God bless Lizzie DeRozzo. It was a really great
She was in the
documentary.
chat. I thought that was your girl. She was in here earlier.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't
So,
see her. I
nah,
love
yeah,
you,
it
Lizzie.
was a while ago, but
Oh yeah.
we were on a good one. I didn't want to interrupt it. Yeah, she
Yeah,
goes,
yeah,
Random's always a great guest, and she said, "Yo, Dan." I guess she knows one of the other fans, Dan, in
yeah.
here. Uh, get Random back on at Legion of Skanks or MSSP to wake people back up. This crazy dude is making
Yes.
a fuckload of sense right now. No, because this is one of my favorite fucking interviews I've done. I know I say this all the time, but
Yeah.
everyone's different. Like me and
Yeah.
Buttalees was like a dab meat one. This was like a fucking random interview. The one with
Yeah.
Chrissy Mayo was a Chrissy Mayo. This is why I fucking love doing this, man.
Yeah.
Is it's different shit every fucking time. Um, go see his documentary. It's on his YouTube channel or his website. You're just at Mark Random X, right? On Twitter
Yeah. And Instagram.
and Instagram. Follow him on there. He fucking rules before he gets his account banned. And this is what I want to end on. Do you think, people say this all the time, the pendulum will ever swing back the other way with political correctness?
It only will in terms of the pendulum escalating. Like the pendulum swings this way, but then it'll swing this way, and
Yeah.
then this way, and then and that's
Yeah.
kind of like where we
Higher and
say like the
higher. Yeah.
genocide or the extermination coming from is it's not just cancel. Now it's snitching on someone for the virus, or now it's
Yeah.
like canceling someone's livelihood and their families. You're canceling their families and generations of them, and then it's like protests, and then it's people shooting each other in the streets, and then it's businesses getting burned down. Like it's escalating through decades. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and social media is attributing to it. The corporations are selling it, and every politician shill for it. And entertainment industry is brainwashing people, and people are just wind up toy pawns giving into this. And it's fucking heartbreaking to me. But then
Yeah,
there's
man.
the other part of me that just resents humanity for their own genocide. So
Dude,
there, who killed comedy?
I
Mark
didn't,
Random.
I knew I fucking loved you and you ruled and were hilarious and had some great fucking ideas. I didn't know how much I would agree with you on everything. I don't think I disagreed with you on one fucking thing in
Yeah,
this last hour and 20 minutes, brother. But we'll fucking end it on that. Dude, thank you for coming on. This is fucking unreal.
you too.
All right, brother.
All
So
right.
we'll try and get, you want me to try and get you and Lizzie on SMC?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll talk to Ski about it, and we'll work out a time when you both will be together in the
All
same
right.
joint, and we'll get you on. All right, brother.
All
Thanks
right.
for
Thank you
coming
very
on,
much.
man.
Have a good night. God
You
bless
too, brother.
everyone.
God bless. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.